everyone, welcome. You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Tanisha Avasthi. Today on this edition, we get you the stories that set the agenda. First up, we start with the top story where 18 people have been killed and 11 have been injured. The question now arises on who exactly is responsible for the negligence that took place at Delhi railway station. And meanwhile, politics have already ensued over the same, with the opposition now questioning the government, pinning blame on the centre. Moving on, we will tell you the latest controversy over former CJI's interview to BBC and what the top jurist Harish Salve had to say in this regard. We'll also tell you the latest controversy over Congress MP Gogoi's wife and her Pakistani links, which the BJP has alleged and has asked the Congress MP to come out clean on it. Also on the show, second batch of deportees are back to India and we will get you their version on what they have to say. We will also get you the latest on the US aid funding on journalists, where reports suggest that nearly USD 22 million were given for voter turnout in India. Huge claims being made there. The 6 stories that we are tracking. But first up, we start with the first story, which is from the national capital now. A tragic stampede at the New Delhi railway station last Saturday evening left at least 18 people dead, with initial police investigation pointing to confusion between two similarly named trains at the cause of the disaster. Now, stampede turned which was meant to be a pilgrimage for many of the devotees which were travelling to Kumbh, turned into a night of devastation. According to Delhi police sources, the chaos erupted when passengers waiting for the Prayagraj Express at platform number 14 mistook an announcement about Prayagraj's special train arriving at platform number 16 for their own train, fearing there might miss a departure. Now, there are several questions that are being raised, and we'll take you through the timeline of the case, which explains you on what exactly took place on the tragic night of Saturday evening. There you see at around 9:30 p.m. This is what the timeline looks like. At around 9:30 p.m. is when the incident of stampede took place at platform number 14. Now remember, platform number 14 is where the exact case of the stampede. Now, when we talk about the other platforms, that is from where the devotees had rushed to the other platforms, keeping in mind that a wrong announcement was given according to sources. At around 9:55 p.m. is when 4 fire tenders had rushed to the site to ensure that the injured have been shifted to the hospital in a safe manner. At around 11:20 p.m. is when the Railway Ministry had issued a first statement. Now remember, there are different versions that we are getting to you. First, when the railway has said that it was just a rumor and that there was no stampede. However, later it was known that there was a stampede that took place in which many were injured, many had already lost their lives. Now, late at night is when the Director General of Police, RPF, also reached the police station. They took stock of the situation, but remember, this comes late at around midnight when the stampede had actually happened. Now, while there are several discrepancies in the statements that the railways are giving, one thing that remains constant is the eyewitness listening to the narration, the ordeal that they had to face.
आपने हाशमी जी क्या देखा कल रात?
मैम, बहुत भयानक मंजर था। हमने अपनी ज़िंदगी में ऐसा भयानक मंजर नहीं देखा। हम 16 नंबर के बाहर काम कर रहे थे, रोज़ की तरह जैसे करते हैं। एकदम चीखने चिल्लाने की आवाज़ आई, रोड में बिल्लाने की आवाज़ आई, बच्चे रो रहे थे, चीख रहे थे, चिल्ला रहे थे। हम लोग सारे कुली वहाँ से भागे। हम भागते हुए आए और आकर के हमने देखा तो कुछ बच्चे दबे हुए, कुछ औरतें दबी हुई हैं, बच्चे भाग रहे हैं, औरतें भाग रही हैं, लोग उसके ऊपर गिर रहे हैं। अब हम लेकर के उनको उठा करके लेकर के और बाहर भागे 16 नंबर के बाहर। एक औरत रो रही थी कि मेरी बच्ची मर गई, मेरी बच्ची मर गई। उस 4 साल बच्ची को लेकर के हम जब भागे तो 2 मिनट बाद देखा तो उसकी बच्ची को होश आ गया। मैम, वो रोने लग गई और डगरा उठी। वो मेरी बेटी जिंदा हो गई, मेरी बेटी जिंदा हो गई। बताइए आपकी अगर बेटी हो और बच्चा हो आपका और मर जाए, 1 मिनट के लिए वो मर जाए और दूसरी मिनट आपको खबर आप देखो कि आपका बेटा जिंदा है, आपकी बेटी जिंदा है, आपको कैसा महसूस होगा? मैम, उस माँ को देख कर के हम फिर दोबारा भाग गए 14 नंबर की तरफ। फिर 2-3 बच्चों को बचाया हमने। बहुत खतरनाक मंजर था।
Extremely tragic news there that came into our newsroom last evening. Akhil, my colleague, is joining me live from the New Delhi railway station. Akhil, you have been reporting from the ground. The stampede that took place yesterday, what our viewers want to know is there were any preemptive measures taken by the railway authorities, keeping in mind the surge that the railways would see when at a pointed time when the devotees are rushing to Prayagraj for the Mahakumbh? Were there any barricading at place, and how many security personnel were deployed to ensure that no untoward incidents take place?
Well, Tanisha, if you see at that point in time when that incident took place, no one basically thought in that direction that this could go so wrong. This could go horribly wrong. Right now, you can see a barricading, a minor level barricading has been done over here, and this you can see. This is a slight rope has been put in place through which you can see that people have been told not to move outside this barricading. So at that point in time when that incident took place, there were no proper security measures being taken on the side of Delhi police, or if you see from the railway police as well. I was spoken to some senior officials in the Delhi police team. They said that it's the railway police who basically guard railway station. But if you see when that incident took place, railway police officials and the administration, if you talk about the railway administration of New Delhi railway station, they must be aware of that kind of situation, that large number of people have gathered at platform number 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16 on these 5 platforms. Because if you see when that announcement was being made that Prayagraj Express is at platform number 14 where I am standing currently right now, and another train of a similar name with a different initials, which is Prayagraj Special, was supposed to arrive at platform number 16. So people started rushing from this very side. Here you can see this is the various chairs where that incident took place. So people started to go towards my left side, which is the Ajmeri gate side. So people have already started moving from Paharganj side towards the Ajmeri gate side when that stampede broke out. Right now you can see the measurements have been taken today, and situation is pretty normal and calm. Here you can see people are coming over here, and at this point in time you can see paramilitary forces have also been deployed. Here you can see rapid action force is the CRPF unit is over here. And apart from that, what we have been witnessing since the morning, that cleanliness drive have been taking place back to back since the morning after the incident took place. And the situation over here is very calm. Back to you in the studio.
Right, Akhil. Thank you for getting all those details. Remains to be seen when will an FIR be launched in the case. Now, viewers, even after it's not even been 24 hours since the unfortunate stampede tragedy at the New Delhi railway station has passed, and the politics has already begun. The unfortunate crowding due to special trains for Mahakumbh led to the stampede. Now, RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav has called Mahakumbh useless, while other politicians are also jumping into the ring to take pot shots at the BJP, pinning the blame on the centre. Here's a report on that.
Less than 24 hours after the unfortunate tragedy at the New Delhi railway station, which led to a stampede that claimed 18 lives, politics over the incident has already begun. It all started last night when massive crowds gathered on the New Delhi railway station for boarding the Prayagraj Express. The sudden surge of passengers amid sources indicating last-moment change of platforms, over 1,500 general tickets issued at the last moment, are amongst various reasons being probed behind the tragedy. The Railways has ordered a high-level inquiry into the matter, but this did not stop the opposition leaders from politicizing the tragedy. In the most shocking manner, RJD Supremo and former Railways Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav blamed the Mahakumbh, calling it quote-unquote useless.
अरे सब कुंभ का क्या कोई मतलब है, फालतू है कुंभ। बहुत दुखद हुआ है, एकदम लापरवाही है कांग्रेस के। रेल मंत्री को इस्तीफा करना चाहिए, जिम्मेदारी लेना चाहिए। बहुत बड़ी हादसा हुआ।
कुंभ में भी भगदड़ हुआ था सर।
कुंभ में भी हुआ। कुंभ आस्था का जगह है, आस्था का जगह है, लोग जाते हैं।
दोषी कौन है सर?
दोषी गवर्नमेंट है, गवर्नमेंट को।
Not just that, AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi also called the entire tragedy a BJP cover-up. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi too called the entire tragedy a failure of the government and blamed the insensitivity of the administration. Aam Aadmi Party leader and former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi Manish Sisodia also entered the political arena with a jibe, calling the government Aapda Sarkar. Amidst this, Union Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnav is likely to chair a meeting at Rail Bhavan.
Moving on to the other stories that we are tracking, there is controversy over former CJI D.Y. Chandrachud's interview to BBC. Now, in the interview, he addressed several cases like the Ram Temple, Article 370 and CAA as well. He also dismissed claims of political pressure on courts. Now, former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has defended the Supreme Court's verdict upholding the abrogation of Article 370 of the Constitution, stating that it was a temporary and transitional provision meant to fade away. In the interview with the BBC, Justice Chandrachud emphasized that the Supreme Court acknowledged to elected government's decision to abrogate the provision, which was introduced in a transitional arrangement due to war condition in the state. Now, responding to the interview, top jurist Harish Salve slammed the former Chief Justice of India, saying that nobody has the right, especially a foreign nation, to question what happens in India and the decision that the Supreme Court takes. Here's that interview.
Former Chief Justice of India, Justice Chandrachud, who's giving out a lot of interviews to BBC and other Western media outlets. It's been trending for the wrong reasons. What are we supposed to think of it when answers are not able to come out?
This raises issues of great moment. The Chief Justice of India is a part of the Supreme Court of India, and I don't think he should be speaking of what the court does, because it's not him, but the Supreme Court, which was actually on trial in that interview. We always say judges should only speak through their judgments. Take the Article 370. The judgments gave reasons why it upheld. You bring this up in a private interview and your motives for the judgment are questioned. All sorts of aspersions were cast. Also, when you sit in an interview like this, he was asked why he did not hear the Citizenship Amendment Act case. Who's a journalist to ask why our Supreme Court hears a case or doesn't hear a case? So, and what was the underlying suggestion? That the Supreme Court has lost its duty to the Constitution in holding the balance even between different castes and communities? So this is the complete danger of giving interviews on judicial work. You want to give interviews on administrative work, on how you've introduced technology, how you're working on improving the lot of the complete near defunct legal system and where there are staggering areas. Speak about that. Don't speak about judgments ever.
I think the larger picture that you said is when he spoke about this, the Supreme Court was on trial. It's not only this, sir. Every time there is any PIL that is filed that is asking for questioning the electoral voter turnout and other things, whether the EVMs are being questioned, to be answering to a foreign government is something that judges should possibly not be doing at this point.
Judges should speak through their judgments. And then we follow the discipline. We may criticize their judgments, we may discuss their judgments, we may tear into their judgments, but we don't discuss judges. What you've done is you put judges on trial, not judgments.
Sir, final words. When it comes to people who are now speaking out, judges who are speaking out, what about this lobby in the Supreme Court that was trying to intimidate the judges at one time and trying to bully them in a way of trying to hear some cases here or there?
See, this cut and thrust in the Supreme Court should remain inside the courtrooms and at worst gossiped about in the corridors of the Supreme Court, but not beyond. Don't take this seriously. Our judges are made of sterner stuff. They know how to deal with these people.
On that, I'm being joined by Aruna Shyam. He is a senior advocate. Thank you very much for speaking to Republic. Aruna, now It is a former Chief Justice of India who goes to another country, gives an interview to the BBC, and the state media there is actually questioning and asking questions about what happened in India, basically meddling into Indian affairs. How do you see this?
Now, first and foremost thing is, I think judges should not speak for media. That is what the minimum requirement, it is settled. Another aspect is, a judge should not speak about his judgment, but the judgment should speak for a judge, or judgment itself should speak for the judgment. And here is a case where the foreign country is interviewing a retired judge, and they are trying to drag for controversy, and this should not have been happened.
Right, absolutely. Aruna Sham, what I also want to know from you is, do you feel that by doing this, they are allowing the foreign media to actually meddle into Indian affairs, likely said by the top jurist Harish Salve as well, that nobody has the right to question what judgments are taken in India, because ultimately the Supreme Court is the one which is put on trial and not the judges who had delivered the verdict.
Yes, the judge who delivered the judgment is irrelevant, and it is ultimately called the judgment of the Supreme Court or the High Court. Now, once the judgment is delivered by the Supreme Court, then it's a matter. Even judge also becomes functus officio. He cannot even comment on his own judgment. It may be wrong or it may be right, but it is a judgment of the Supreme Court. He himself should not go and talk about that judgment. That is the settled principle. And there are legal recourse available to protect or safeguard the interest of the judges.
Absolutely.
Then a judge is not expected to go and defend his judgment. And especially these foreign media, they are trying to drag and they are trying to create controversy by interviewing the retired judges, and this is how an unfortunate state of affair is happening.
Absolutely. Aruna Sham, thank you for speaking to Republic on that. Moving on to the other stories that we're tracking. Now, the controversy surrounding the wife of Congress MP Gaurav Gogoi ceases to exist. Now, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, who previously questioned the Congress MP's wife over her alleged ties to the highlighted tweets posted by her supervisor in Pakistan, is something that has raked up a debate. Now, this time BJP is time and again questioning the link of the Congress MP with Pakistan, and has come out and has told the Congress MP to come out clean on that. Here is a report.
So this big controversy about Gaurav Gogoi's wife, her Pakistan, the way she's getting into Pakistan, the entries of the Congress leaders, what is their deep desire, and what do these ties really expose?
I'm not, I don't want to comment on personal lives of politicians and their wives. All I'm saying is we have to be very careful that we, in our political battles, which are fought in India, I mean, you fight for elections, you fight to be elected in office. The job of every, as Akhilesh Yadav, I think, rightly said, elections was all about winning. So that's fair enough on the battlefield of elections. You do whatever you have to do. You build whatever narrative you want to build. Narratives are always colorful. Not everybody takes narrative seriously, but that's all a part of the game. But to allow, and worse, to invite anybody from beyond our borders to help in the electoral process is the first step towards dismantling republichood, the first step towards dismantling our democracy.
Now, the 116 undocumented Indian migrants who were on board the US plane that landed at Punjab's Amritsar International Airport on Saturday night were handcuffed and changed during a travel as they were deported from the United States, as per one of the deportees. Talking to Republic in Hoshiarpur, one of the deportees asserted that on their way to Amritsar from the United States, the deportee were handcuffed with their legs chained in the aircraft. The second group of 116 Indian citizens were deported from the United States in an aircraft after the United States President Donald Trump recently started a crackdown on illegal immigrants. Here is what the deportee had to tell Republic.
जितेंद्र, कल आपको वापस डिपोर्ट किया गया, कब पता चला था कि आपको वापस डिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं?
हमें मतलब कि पहले कुछ नहीं बताया, हमको मतलब कि हथकड़ियाँ लगा के पैरों में बेड़ियाँ लगा के मतलब कि कैंप में ले जा गए, ठीक है। और हमें जब फ्लाइट में बिठाया गया, बस से उतार के, हमें तब इन्फॉर्म किया गया कि आपको इंडिया भेज रहे हैं। वो इंडिया का कोई भाई था, ट्रांसलेटर था, ऑफिसर था, यूएस आर्मी में था, और उन्हें हमें बताया कि आपको डिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, इंडिया भेज रहे हैं, आप कोई हरकत ना करना, कोई ऐसा शोर शराबा मत करना जिससे आपको दिक्कत हो, और आपको ये फाइनल बात है कि आपको इंडिया भेज रहे हैं।
ठीक है। जितेंद्र, कब आप यहाँ से, हिंदुस्तान से बाहर गए थे? किस रास्ते से गए थे? क्या किसी एजेंट के ज़रिए गए थे?
हाँ जी, मैं एजेंट के ज़रिए से गया था, और मैं जहाँ से 27 सितंबर को गया था, और मेरी जहाँ से बॉम्बे से मतलब कि गोवाना की फ़्लाइट थी। आगे से मेरा डोंकी का रूट स्टार्ट हो गया था, टैक्सी हो गया, पैदल हो गया, पनामा जंगल हो गया, मेरा आगे मतलब कि पैदल रूट था। बाय एयर मतलब कि एजेंट से बात हुई थी, 50 लाख रुपया था, और आगे मेरा टैक्सी रूट था, पैदल रूट था।
Moving on to the last story that we're tracking in this edition of 6 Stories at 6, a bombshell report from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has exposed the deep state's dirty game, a calculated plot to meddle in Indian elections. We have irrefutable proof. A staggering $21 million was funneled under the guise of voter turnout in India, a blatant attempt to manipulate our democracy. Here is a report on that.
In a bombshell revelation, the Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency has blown the lid of the deep state's covert meddling in Indian politics. The agency has revealed a shocking list of cancelled foreign funding, and amongst them, one jaw-dropping detail stands out. A staggering 21 million was funneled to manipulate voter turnout in India. But before this report even surfaced, Republic had already called it out.
USAID and CIA are two sides of the same coin. A cover, a decoy would probably be the appropriate word to use it, both controlled by the American deep state. Why am I talking about this in India? Am I obsessed with the Americans? Absolutely not. But when this USAID plus CIA puts in money into India as a financial tool for influence, I have to expose not just USAID plus CIA, but the people in India who have taken money from the CIA plus USAID. Now, those people would be very angry that I'm equating CIA plus USAID, but they need to know. And who am I talking about? Some really stupid YouTubers, not stupid, malicious, venomous, anti-India YouTubers, very happy to be taking money from the Americans as long as it looks like a USAID operation. But now that Republic has exposed that USAID is CIA, which means you're taking money from USAID, you are taking money as an American influence peddling operation. They'd be very queasy about it. But they've done some really slimy stuff, and they need to be exposed.
Meanwhile, for the BJP, it was a moment of vindication. And it does not stop at India. The deep state's web of interference spread to Bangladesh too. A jaw-dropping 29 million was earmarked for, quote, strengthening the political landscape in Bangladesh, a country that erupted in political turmoil and allegations of US deep state's involvement in the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The pattern is clear. The deep state's hand has been exposed, but who's pulling the strings and why?
KP Fabian, a former diplomat, joins me live on the broadcast. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to Republic. Thank you for your patience. Now, USAID are funding journalists, that has been proven. And we are also getting to know that this could have also meddled in the Indian voter turnout. Is it time you feel that a government action is needed in the case?
Well, first of all, I think we should get to know more about it, what precisely has happened, and if necessary, action should be taken. At the same time, I would say that to equate USAID with CIA is not exactly correct, because USAID does a lot of humanitarian work, not only in India, but across the globe. And because of the, that 90-day pause millions of human beings are suffering. We should not forget that.
Right. Kipi Fabian, thank you very much for speaking to Republic and sharing your views on that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on this edition of 6 Stories at 6, the 6 agenda-setting stories that we brought to you. It's time for us to slip into a short break, but stay tuned. We will be back tomorrow, same time, with more agenda-setting news. Thank you for watching.